In the dim glow of a dusty saloon on the edge of the Arizona Badlands, where the air hung heavy with the scent of whiskey and regret, a notorious outlaw named Jack Harlan slid onto a bar stool next to a lone woman. He leaned in close, his voice a gravelly whisper laced with false charm. "Darlin', you look like you've seen better days. How about I buy your silence with a fat stack of bills? No one needs to know I was here." Little did he know, the woman sipping her coffee wasn't just any stranger. She was Eliza Kane, the bounty hunter who'd shadowed his every move for 5 long, agonizing years. Eliza's heart pounded like a war drum in her chest, but she kept her face a mask of indifference, her fingers tracing the rim of her mug. 5 years. It had started in a small Texas town where Jack Harlan and his gang had ridden in under the cover of night, torches blazing, guns drawn. They were after the bank's safe, but in the chaos, bullets flew wild. Eliza's world shattered that night. Her husband, Tom, a simple sheriff's deputy, caught in the crossfire. Her young daughter, Lily, barely 6, crushed under the hooves of fleeing horses. The image haunted her, Lily's tiny hand reaching out from the rubble, her cries silenced forever. Eliza had been out tending the garden, spared by sheer luck, but the survivor's guilt gnawed at her soul like a relentless coyote. From that moment, vengeance became her compass, justice her only solace. She'd traded her homespun dresses for leather boots and a weathered duster, her grief forging her into something unbreakable. The bounty on Harlan's head, $10,000 dead or alive, was just a number. For Eliza, it was personal. She learned to track like a ghost, blending into shadows, listening to whispers in outlaw dens from El Paso to the Rockies. The first year was the hardest. Loneliness clawed at her as she rode solo through blistering deserts and freezing mountain passes. She faced starvation when supplies ran low, bandits who mistook her for easy prey, and storms that seemed sent by the devil himself. Once, in a New Mexico ghost town, she nearly froze to death, huddled in an abandoned mine, clutching a faded photograph of Tom and Lily, the only memento she allowed herself. "Oh, why am I doing this?" she'd whisper to the wind, tears freezing on her cheeks, but the answer always came. For them, to make the world a little less broken. Harlan, meanwhile, lived like a king in exile. Tall and broad-shouldered, with a scar snaking down his cheek from a bar fight gone wrong, he was charming when it suited him, ruthless always. He'd amassed a fortune from heists, always one step ahead, buying loyalties and vanishing like smoke. But cracks showed in his armor over time. Paranoia set in. He'd wake from nightmares of faceless pursuers, his hands shaking as he loaded his revolver. He missed the simple life he'd once known, a boy from a poor farm family, driven to crime by desperation after a drought claimed his parents. "Ain't no going back," he'd mutter to his reflection, but deep down, regret simmered. He'd heard rumors of a relentless hunter on his trail, but dismissed them as tall tales. Women didn't hunt bounties. They baked pies and raised kids, or so he thought. Eliza's pursuit wasn't without its toll. In year 2, she crossed paths with a kind-hearted rancher named Silas in Colorado, who offered her shelter during a blizzard. He was a widower himself, with eyes that saw through her tough exterior to the broken woman beneath. For a fleeting moment, she let her guard down. Sharing stories by the fire, feeling the warmth of human connection, she'd long denied herself. "You don't have to carry this alone," Silas had said, his hand gentle on hers. But when a lead on Harlan surfaced a sighting in Denver, she rode out at dawn, leaving a note in her heart behind. "I can't stop now," it read. "It's not until it's done." Silas understood, but the ache of what could have been lingered, a reminder that her quest had stolen more than Temet had stolen her chance at healing. Challenges mounted as the years dragged on. In year 3, Harlan's gang ambushed her in a Utah canyon, mistaking her for a rival thief. Bullets whizzed past as she dove behind rocks, her horse bolting in panic. She fought back with grit born of desperation, taking down 2 men before the rest fled. A graze on her arm left a scar, but worse was the doubt that crept in. Was she becoming like them, killing to survive, her hands stained with blood? She sought solace in a frontier church, kneeling before a flickering candle. "Forgive me," she prayed, "but don't let me forget why." The priest, an old man with wise eyes, told her, "Justice ain't vengeance if it's for the right reasons. But hold on to your soul, child." Those words became her mantra, pulling her through the darkest nights. By year 4, Eliza had pieced together Harlan's patterns. He favored saloons in border towns, always paid in gold, and had a weakness for pretty faces, using them as shields or distractions. She posed as a barmaid in Santa Fe, eavesdropping on his drunken boasts, her pulse racing as he sat mere feet away. But he slipped through her fingers when a dust storm hit, erasing his tracks. Frustration boiled over. She screamed into the void, punching the ground until her knuckles bled. 5 years, she thought. What if it's all for nothing? Friends she'd made along the way, fellow hunters, informants urged her to quit. "You'd live your life," Eliza once said. But letting go felt like betraying Tom and Lily. She pressed on, her resolve hardening like steel in a forge. Now, in this Arizona saloon, fate had aligned. Harlan, oblivious, slid a pouch of coins across the bar. "Take it, sweetheart. Disappear. I got enemies. And you don't want to get caught in the middle." Eliza's eyes met his, and for the first time, she saw not just the monster, but the man, tired, haunted, perhaps even remorseful. Her hand trembled as she reached for her hidden badge, the one she'd earned after deputizing herself with a sympathetic marshal. But emotion surged. Anger for her losses, pity for his wasted life. "You don't remember me, do you?" she said softly, her voice steady despite the storm inside. Harlan frowned, confusion etching his brow. "Should I?" Eliza stood, revealing the revolver at her hip. "Blackwater, Texas. 5 years ago. You and your boys took everything from me." Recognition dawned in his eyes, widening them in shock. He lunged for his gun, but she was faster, disarming him with a swift kick. Patrons scattered as she pinned him against the bar, cuffs clicking into place. "I've tracked you across hell and back," she hissed. "For my husband, for my daughter." Harlan slumped, the fight draining from him. I didn't mean for the kid. It was an accident." Tears welled in his eyes, real ones, perhaps the first in years. "I'm sorry. God, I'm so sorry." The arrest wasn't clean. Harlan's remaining gang burst in, guns blazing, forcing Eliza into a desperate shootout. Bullets shattered bottles. She took cover behind the bar, her mind flashing to Lily's smile, Tom's laugh. With precise shots honed by years of practice, she subdued them, but not without a wound to her shoulder. As the dust settled, Harlan, bound and defeated, looked up at her. "Why didn't you just kill me?" he asked. Eliza, bloodied but unbowed, replied, "Because death's too easy. You need to face what you've done in a court with the world watching." It was her resolution, not vengeance, but true justice. Word spread like wildfire. Eliza delivered Harlan to the authorities, collecting the bounty not for riches, but to fund an orphanage in Blackwater, honoring Lily's memory. She returned to Silas, who waited with open arms, offering the life she'd postponed. Scars remained physical and emotional, but she'd emerged stronger, her heart mended by perseverance. In the end, Eliza's story whispers to us all, in the face of unimaginable loss, it's not the pursuit that defines us, but the purpose behind it. Hold fast to your light, chase justice with an open heart. And remember, redemption isn't just for the fallen, it's for those who rise from the ashes, inspiring others to do the same.